In the previous discussion of my co-reporter, they have introduced to you what is a Zygomycota species. And including there, they have discussed what are the structure, the life cycle, the characteristics, and the interaction and application of Zygomycota. And in this last part of a video recording, I will be presenting to you an examples of Zygomycota species. Either they have a beneficial impact or they are harmful in the environment. And if you have any idea, you can write down in a piece of paper. And let's say in the end of this discussion, if your examples or my examples are the same. But here I will be presenting only two examples of Zygomycota species. And first of that is the Rhizopus solinifer, in which the characteristics of Rhizopus solinifer is that they are most famously known as black bread mold, in which they grows on a variety of foods, including bread, fruits, especially the soup fruits like strawberries and vegetables. Its rapid growth can lead to significant spoilage of food, causing economic losses in food storage and transportation. And aside from that, they have an impact in the agricultural field, especially that they can infect crops such as fruits and vegetables, causing or leading to post-harvest rot and reducing the overall yield and quality of the produce. And this example here is a Rhizopus soliniferous fertilization in sweet potato root, in which, as you can see, that almost all of the sweet potato root are being infested by this Rhizopus solinifer, in which you can also conclude that they have really an agricultural impact, especially in the yield and the quality of the produce of our local farmers. But despite their disadvantage, the ribosylvinifer has also a beneficial effects, especially in enzyme production, in which ribosylvinifer produces enzymes like amylase and pectinase, which have industrial application. These enzymes are used in various processes, including the starch breakdown and fruit juice clarification. Another beneficial effects of ribosylvinifer is in the fermentation process, in which, like other species of rhizopus, it can be used in some fermentation process. Especially in controlled environments, rhizopus species are being utilized to break down organic material or aid in the production of fermented foods. Lastly, it has role in ecological aspect, especially that the rhizopus solinifer plays a role in breaking down dead organic matter, especially decaying plant material, contributing to nutrient cycling in the ecosystems. As part of rhizopus solinifer harmful effects in the agricultural aspect, we have here a study showing the effectiveness of chemical and thermal treatments on control rhizopus solinifer fruit infection, comparing tomato cultivars with different sensitivities to cropping. This study was being written by Alvaro Cervantes Sevillana and others, which was being published in the year 2019. According to this study, tomatoes are among the most important horticultural crops. However, it is estimated that 30% of tomato yield is lost due to post-harvest rot due to Rhizopus solinifer, which is a fungus which requires lesions to initiate the infectious process. In this study, it used 14 cultivars of tomato of different types, which is being presented in the table 1, the different types, the cultivars, and number of fruits being utilized in this study. The fruits were divided into two groups. One group was inoculated with rhizopus in order to assess the effectiveness of washing, while the other was being treated with sterile water. The fruits in this study of each group were divided into lots to be treated with 6 washing treatments, including dipping in hot water at 20, 40, and 60 degrees Celsius for 20 seconds, and the fruits were then sprayed with the following solutions: the 0.6% of hydrogen peroxide 23%, being added by peracetic acid 15%, commercial bleach at 0.5%, and 2% of hydrogen peroxide 15%. In contrast, the control sample was not being washed. The results of this study showed that there was an influence of cultivar on fruit cracking, which was strongly related to rhizopus infection. Three cultivars of this study were not susceptible to cracking and therefore were not sensitive to rhizopus infection. The effectiveness of different washing treatments of tomato fruits depends on several factors. Nonetheless, the hot water treatment has been shown to be more effective than the use of chemical products such as commercial bleach or hydrogen peroxide being mentioned above. Also, in this study, it shows the influence of cultivar on fruit cropping and incidence of Rhizopus in non-inoculated fruits. It shows that the SV, which is a cherry plum tomato type, and the AXP, which is also a cherry tomato type, showed no signs of this physiopathy, while the ZH, which is a also a cherry plum tomato type, and the OD, which is a cocktail vine tomato type, showed a very high incidence of cracking, as shown here in the figure 1. After 10 days of storage, the TUF, this one, the ZH, and OD, showed the incidence of cracking was considerably higher than that of another cultivars, from BEL down to SB. In this study also, it shows the incidence of Rhizopus stolonifere in the cultivars. It shows that after 10 days of storage, the cultivars with a higher incidence of rot were TOF, OD, and ZH, while cultivars such as SAK, CAP, BEN, AS, or BL showed a significant lower incidence of rot, which is less than 10%. The most notable results were SB, AR, and EXP, which during the storage time did not show any sign of rotting. If we compare this figure 2 to the figure 1 here, it shows that we can find that cultivars that have a higher incidence of cracking also present a higher incidence of rhizopus rot, the TUF, OD, and ZH. Another result of this study shows that the influence of cultivar on fruit cracking of rhizopus rot in inoculated fruits. The OD, the TUF, and ZH were the most affected cultivars, although due to inoculation, other cultivars were also affected, which is being presented in this figure and in the previous figure 1. However, the noteworthy result was that cultivars of SB, EXP, and also AR did not show cracking, neither when the fruits were not inoculated nor when they are. This may indicate that these cultivars can be considered resistant to cracking. Another result of this study shows the incidence of rhizopus in inoculated fruits, in which the incidence of rhizopus was higher in this case due to artificial inoculation. Most of the cultivars presented severe infections, particularly after 10 days of storage. Nevertheless, three cultivars, the SB, AXP, and AR, did not show signs of rot or visual signs of the presence of the fungus despite being inoculated. Another three cultivars, the SAK, NUM, TOM, showed a slight incidence, particularly at 6 days of storage, but did not show signs of infection or at least a very slight signs after 3 days of storage. Lastly, this study also shows the effectiveness of chemical and thermal treatments on the control of rhizopus infection, in which after 6 days of storage, it was observed that the important differences between the treatments, especially the HP and HW20, showed a similar rhizopus incidence to the control, while the rest of treatment, the HW40, HW60, the HPPA, and also the CB, showed a lower rhizopus incidence, particularly HW60. which showed the lowest at all. After 10 days, the incidence of rhizopus was higher than would be expected, although the fruits treated with HW40, HW60, and also the CB presented a lower incidence. In contrast to the previous study, which shows the harmful effects of rhizopus turinifere in the agricultural aspect, we have here another study showing the beneficial effect of rhizopus turinifere, especially in the nutritional enhancement of cocoa plant husk meal through fermentation. This study was being written by Oligosi et al., which was being also published in the year 2019. This study evaluated the effect of fermentation period on approximate composition, anti-nutritional content, fiber fraction, and amino acid profile of cocoa pod husk meal, or also known as CPHM. Cocoa pod husk was being taken through a solid state fermentation process involving the Rhizopus tuminifere as its starter culture for a period of 2 weeks. The results of this study revealed that the crude protein content of CPHM or cocopad has failed significantly. The p-value is less than or equal to 0.05, improved during fermentation by 48.59%, while the crude fiber and crude lipid decreased significantly, in which the p-value is equal or less than to 0.05 by 14% and 22%, respectively, after 2 weeks of fermentation. Also, in this study, it shows in the Table 1, Table 2, and Table 3 that the results of this study showed that the nutritive values of CPHM or the cocoa pod husk meal through fermentation greatly improve as days of fermentation increase till the 14th day when fermented with rhizopus solenifere. Increase in crude protein, reduction in crude fiber, and anti-nutrient content of the CPHN meal fermented with rhizopus solenifere could lead to improved palatability, better feed intake, and also the utilization, which would make the meal more suitable for use as alternative feed ingredient for animals, especially in the monogastric animals in regions which highly depends on imported feed ingredients, where cocoa panhas meal or the cocoa panhas are predominantly but left to waste on the farm. That is why in this study, it shows the beneficial effects of this rhizobustilinifer in the enhancement of the cocoa panhas, especially through fermentation. The second Zygomycota species that I will be presenting is under the Mucor species, especially the Mucor cercinuloides. They have here a characteristic of being opportunistic pathogen in both humans and animals. Acute infection can involve the skin, the lungs, or even the gastrointestinal system, often as a result of exposure to the spores in the soil or decomposing organic matter. They have also an economic impact in which some mucor species also spoil food, particularly in the bread and vegetables, during storage and transportation, leading to economic losses in the food industry. We have here a study saying that this Newport cercinuloides is the fungus that triggered a yogurt recall last year, which poses a health risk to all consumers. In September 2013, there were reports of illness among people who ate this Chubabi brand, which is a Greek yogurt, and the company is being issued a recall that the yogurt was being found to be contaminated with this fungus called Mucor cercinuloides. But at that time, it was believed that the fungus was only the health threat to people with weakened immune system. However, there were many complaints about gastrointestinal illness, prompting researchers to take a closer look about the fungus in the yogurt. But the investigators have found that the strain of Mucorcercinuloides that caused the outbreak of illness was one commonly associated with infection in people. The researchers tested the strain on mice and found it could cause deadly infections in the rodents. The findings were recently published in the online journal InBio, in which the Chubabi disputed the study's claim and said company tests found no presence of pathogens or even germs in the yogurt. And as a summary of our overall reporting, we have presented here a summary. The zygomycetes are the simple fungi with coisonatic hyphae and reproduce both sexually and asexually. They have a defining feature in which the zygosporangium that forms during sexual reproduction. They play essential roles in ecosystem, such as decomposing organic matter. Aside from that, the zygomycota has an ability of zygomycetes to switch between asexual and sexual reproduction, allowing the zygomycetes to adapt to varying environmental conditions with the cytosporangium acting as a resistant structure during adverse conditions. That is why, in my part, I have discussed that the zygomycota can have both harmful and beneficial roles, impacting our health, the food production, the environment, and especially the agricultural sector in various ways. These are the references that if you want to read more about our topic, we have here the references of of our reporting. And if you don't have any questions, thank you for listening and watching our video reporting, and we hope you have learned a lot. Thank you.